Kirsty, sorry for cutting Kirsty off there, but we do have breaking news. Have agreed, are still discussing details around this potential option to buy clause. So it's to buy, they're discussing, but he's an Austrian international. He is in the UK. He's due to undergo a medical. Celtic have agreed this loan deal, just a few bits to iron out. But I might as well put you on the spot. Kevin, what do we know about him? Why would he be a good signing?
I think he could be. If you look at the guy that was at Salzburg and played in the Champions League, you thought, wow, this is a real rising star. And when he made the move to Germany, to Freiburg, that looked like a coup at the time. But he had an injury to start with. That made for a bit of a false start. He's had some good spells where he scored goals and you thought, now he's going to make that breakthrough. He's going to be consistent. Hasn't quite happened for him. So he's a bit of a fixer-upper in that regard, but there's potential there.
OK, thank you very much.
Saliba, Ben White, can you give us an update on those three?
Yeah, with Miles, there is nothing serious on the scan, so it will be a matter of, today have a meeting with the medical staff, we have a training session, whether it's too early or not, and with Willie, something similar as well. I think definitely be in for next week, this week, and let's see how it goes.
And Ben White's still
not available.
Not available, but potentially Saliba and Lewis Scully.
He's agreed a new contract, the World Cup winner. Of course, he joined in September 2020, a firm favourite at the club. He swapped his #1 shirt. People were worried about that. It was purely superstition that led him to doing that, and he is staying at the club, signing a new deal. More on this later this hour.
Mikel Arteta there talking live on Good Morning Transfers ahead of their game against Wolves. Feels like the most clear and direct we have heard Mikel Arteta on Arsenal's January transfer window, and that much talked about search for a striker. Just worth reminding you, I think, exactly what he said there. If we can get the right player, we are actively looking. It is clear in this period that when they lost Saka and Jesus, ideally we need some help. But he did say, caveat that with, we have to do what is right for the club. I think that the key word that stands out there from the quote from Arteta was, it is clear. I mean, it's not just me, it feels like the most clear and direct we've heard Arteta talk about, we need this striker in.
Very, very direct from Mikel Arteta. And it's been glaringly obvious what Arsenal need to do in terms of reinforcements. They didn't do that business in the summer. Obviously, they brought in Raheem Sterling on loan, but he hasn't really contributed. And I think it's an overcorrection right now from Arsenal. When I look back to the transfer window last summer, when they brought in defensive reinforcements, they brought in David Raya, they brought in Julian Timber, they brought in Declan Rice, who at the time was a defensive midfielder. Because in the first season that Arsenal launched that title bid, they were very good going forward. 15 league goals from Martin Ødegaard, 15 league goals from Martinelli, 14 from Bukayo Saka. But those players, through a myriad of reasons, whether it's injury or just poor form, haven't contributed with goals this season, and as a result of it not being goals by committee, they do need that #9 that's prolific. Kai Havertz has contributed, but it's clear of these injuries, and it's clear from the comments from Mikel Arteta that #9 is what they are prioritising this window.
I think, I can understand as well the question to Mikel Arteta and the pressing need for an answer on whether or not it is a necessity. He believes it's a necessity in this window. I think in previous press conferences and when we've heard from Mikel Arteta previously, he has very much praised the squad as a whole and the squad's involvement in goals and what they could do as a squad if, as you say, Leandro Trossard, Declan Rice, Martin Ødegaard, if they all could provide more goals, they would be OK until the man comes in the summer, that big name signing that they fundamentally need. For Arsenal, I think it depends on just how much they want out of this season and whether or not they think they are still in with a shout of the Premier League title and where they could go in various competitions. I think there's every hope that they could still clinch the title, even though they are a few points off now after that damaging loss really to Aston Villa last weekend when it comes to the title race. But that was a very telling press conference. Clearly, Mikel Arteta understands the importance and that currently, as you say, because of form, goals aren't coming from elsewhere.
Now, another story regarding Arsenal. According to a couple of the papers, Arsenal are exploring a possible summer move for the Atletico Madrid striker Julian Alvarez for a potential fee of around £87 million. Now, it's just a couple of rumours in a couple of papers, but this would be massive if it happened, Andy. Do you honestly think it could happen?
I have a feeling Atletico might cash out. They're at least going to consider it, I think, because there's been a little bit of an uneasy relationship between Alvarez' entourage and the club for a while. There are people around him who think that he shouldn't have signed for Atletico because maybe they're not quite an elite club. They're maybe an A- club with pretensions to being an elite club, despite the stadiums, despite the Champions League finals, despite a couple of La Liga titles interspersed with what Real Madrid and Barcelona are doing. But of course, they're not quite on the same level as Real Madrid and Barcelona. I tell you what, he's